welcome to Krackpots We Met Downstairs, brought to you by Krackpots Comedy Club in Massillon, Ohio, with special thanks to Funny Noises Productions in Massillon, Ohio, and shout out to Dinda Mo's Unique Chocolates, which can be found at Krackpots Comedy Club in Massillon, Ohio. I am your host, Rebecca Morcoolin, and today I am with Rodney Norman!
Yay, me!
Yay, you,
Yay.
Rodney! We just met downstairs, we shook your hands, you said, hey, do you want to come up to the podcast? You said, sure. So we brought you up here in this old radio station. How you feeling? Describe the vibes.
I felt like I needed a hard hat and a construction vest. No, this is pretty cool. I love old buildings. I love the vibe of old buildings. I hope it's haunted.
A lot of people say that it's haunted. I've had multiple guests be like, this place is haunted.
I hope it is.
And we had a guest who was like big into like ghost hunting and like going to ghosts, and I was like, well, maybe you could talk to Chris about maybe coming up here and seeing if there's anything here. Because everybody says, well, not everybody, but a lot of people say that there's like ghosties running around up here.
There's a vibe. Ghost vibe up here.
Yeah. So here at Krackpots We Met Downstairs, we know that a lot of interviewers tend to ask the same questions over and over, and that can get boring to answer the same questions all the time. So I'm going to try to ask you a question that you've never been asked before.
I dig it.
What is the best movie to watch on a last date?
Best movie to watch on a last date?
A last date.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's a great movie. And
Why that one specifically?
Because you'll be so interested in the movie, you'll not pay attention to the other person anyway.
You put that movie on, and then they're so engrossed in the film that you just walk out, and then you never talk to them again?
Yeah, is that the plan?
Just to distract them for your
last
getaway
date?
plan?
Yeah, exactly.
Great answer.
I love it. It's a great movie, too.
Yeah. Is that your favorite movie, or do you have other ones in the lineup?
When I was younger, it was one of my favorite movies, just because it was just so crazy. And then this other movie, which it's one of the dumbest things ever, is Paint Your Wagon. It's a movie based on a musical from the 1960s. And in it, Clint Eastwood sings. And it's a ridiculous movie. And I listened to the soundtrack probably 1,000 times.
I didn't know Clint Eastwood could sing.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was in his repertoire.
You know, he's not hitting any high notes, but, it's decent.
Dang. Hidden talents of Clint Eastwood. Wow.
Yeah, look it up sometime. It's an old Western. It's completely ridiculous. And it's fun. It was one of my mother's favorite movies, so she would watch it every time it came on TV. Mm-hmm. And so I would get to watch it every time it came on TV. And I just fell in love with it. I love the music.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So why don't you tell me a little more of how you got into comedy? What brought you here?
My wife, this beautiful woman right here. She wanted to find something that would get me out of the house and gone for long periods of time, and she figured comedy was the trick. And no, I've been pursuing acting and going that route, and I was doing okay, but nothing happened. And she was like, "Why don't you do stand-up? You got more control over your future in stand-up than you would do acting, because acting everything's got to come together just the right time for things to happen. But with stand-up, it's all you." And so I'm like, I'd always wanted to do it, just didn't know how, didn't know when, how, and finally thought, well, I'll just do it. Got up at an open mic, got a couple chuckles, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do forever. Once you get the bug, just making people laugh and having a good time, it's the most addictive thing ever.
Nice. That's so cool. A lot of people say, they get on stage, they were like really nervous, and then they do it, and they're like, I'm going to do this forever.
Oh, yeah.
This is it.
Yeah. Even when it's bad, it's good. Even when it's the most horrible gig ever, I'm still having a great time.
Yeah, that's something that I was told to me when I started in college. I talked to a couple of guys who were already doing stand-up, and they're like, no matter what happens, you're going to have a good time. Like, good or bad, you're going to have fun.
Yes.
And
yes.
They were right.
Well, because, the horrible gigs, those are the ones you remember forever. Even the best gig you can ever think of, where every joke hits, and it's a standing ovation, everything, you'd be like, eh. But the horrible gigs, boy, those stick in your mind forever. And it's fun.
What's the craziest thing that happened while you were performing?
Okay, we had to do this show in Vernal, Utah. It's mostly, it's oil fields. And we got there at like 10 o'clock in the morning for whatever reason. We got there pretty early. Oh, wait, no, it was about 5 o'clock, sorry. 5 in the afternoon, and the show's at 8 o'clock. We go in, and they go to this bar. It's kind of out in the outskirts of town. And we get there, and the place is packed. All dudes. It's all guys. But the place is packed. So we walking in there, and we're like, well, what's going on? It was bus loads, like 8 bus loads of oil workers from West Texas were brought up to work at the oil fields in Utah. But when they got there that morning, they'd traveled all night, got there that morning, the hotel hadn't been arranged, fell through, and they did not have rooms for these fellas. They took them out to this bar and did an open bar and just said, gentlemen, hang out here and drink until we get it figured out. And they said, they've been here all day, but, they're going to be gone here in another hour or two, and then our regulars are going to come in. We're going to have a great show. We're like, okay, fantastic. So we go, we check in our rooms. We got our rooms, so we had no problem. We go, check in the hotel. Showtime, we come back over. It's the same group of dudes is still there. So we go in there. We're like, hey, is this still those guys? And they're like, oh yeah. And they're rowdy. They are, like I said, a bunch of oil workers had an open bar all day, and they're pissed because they don't have rooms for them. And then we show up to do a comedy show. There's 4 of us for this thing. And the bar manager's like, well, the show starts at 8. I'm sure they'll probably be excited to have something going on different because they've just been sitting around all day. We're like, all right, sure. Well, first guy gets up there, and they do not listen to him at all. I mean, they are so loud, they're drowning out the sound system.
Oh, wow.
And it is just a disaster. There were people who came for the comedy show. They all left because there wasn't anywhere to sit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so there was like 30, 40 people who just came in and were like, and they just left. And so we're, like I said, every single seat is taken up by these oil worker guys. And so the first guy, he's supposed to do like 10 minutes. He does 3. It brings up the next comic. He goes up there. He's supposed to do 10. He does 2. And then the guy who's headlining, he's a friend of mine, he goes, this is back when I'd only been in comedy a few years. He goes, look, I really need you to make up their time as well. And so I'm looking at having to do, 20 minutes of my own, plus I got to make up for what time they didn't do. And I'm like, all right. And this is in front of an audience that's just yelling, screaming, they're pissed, they're, So I get up there, I just start going, and they're not listening to me for nothing. And it is just loud, and their pool tables going. They got their own music going because they all, brought their own little speakers and had their own thing going on. And it is just maddening. And so I'm up there I was in a Shakespeare play at the time, and I was just up there quoting my lines, practicing my Shakespeare. I mean, it was just a disaster. The whole thing was just a complete disaster. And so I finally get done with my time. I'm looking at the headliner, and I'm like, and then he just looks at me and goes, I'm like, what? And he's like, oh, yeah, just get out. I was like, all right, thanks. And he had convinced the bar manager, said, this is a disaster. We all got paid, and he didn't have to go up. I did all the time.
Dang.
So it was just one of those things where it was just so ridiculous. I mean, just nobody's paying attention. It was like they were so drunk. It was a disaster. But we still got paid, so that was the important thing.
But that's the most important thing, is getting paid, yeah. We have some audiences, like I've performed at certain open mics where like they're not like at a comedy club, if they're like at a bar, like a coffee shop or something. I think it's good to experience like having audience members not really listening, doing their own thing.
When you're just background noise.
Yeah.
As I like to tell people, I refer to those nights as moths to a flame. And that is, you want to try and get their attention, because if you can get that group's attention, people who are like regulars at the bar, they weren't expecting you to be there at all. They don't think anybody's funnier than they are. You're just wasting their time being there. If you can get them to even just turn around and look at you, that's a win. The trick is to not try to pursue them. A lot of comics will start trying to make fun of people at the bar or something. Just do your thing. Just get up there, do your jokes, have fun. If they catch on that somebody's having a good time, they'll turn around and look. That's where you learn how to do comedy, is when you're in front of people that aren't there for comedy. And you can get them to laugh, then you're like, we're on to something here, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's true. And then also for me, performing in front of an audience that's not paying attention can kind of help myself not getting like frazzled so easily.
Yes.
You know, because if you're on stage and you're expecting everyone to pay attention to you, and the majority of people are like on their phones or getting drinks or they're talking to each other, that can kind of throw you off your game. So having that experience at like an open mic that isn't at a comedy club or like kind of involved around, not necessarily there to see you, they're there for like some other third place meeting kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that can help you a lot because that can also help you with your stage presence and keep you from maybe freezing up in later shows.
Yeah, just having that confidence that even in silence, if the joke gets nothing, is to just move on like that's the way it was supposed to be. You know?
Yeah.
Just having that confidence to not let it shake you. Just keep plowing along. Keep doing your thing. When you're doing comedy, you got to develop a thick skin and you got to develop that attitude that you can get in front of any audience and do well. It may not be absolutely earth-shattering, groundbreaking comedy, but it helps you just develop those chops so that, like, when you're in front of a real audience, you know how to bring it. You can get the attention of Cletus and Clyde sitting at the bar that they've been at for, 30 years and get them to turn around and even just look at you. That's a win. And I like to go find just the weird places. I enjoy weird shows, weird circumstances, places like that, bars that decide to do a comedy night and nobody at the bar knows there's even comedy there. That's fun. They leave all the TVs on. There's still people playing pool. Those are the great ones. That's you can develop your chops.
Yeah, that's where you're going to cut your teeth.
Yeah, because great gigs, as I like to say, anybody can make people at the clubs and the colleges and theaters laugh. Give me a warehouse in the middle of the arts district that no one ever goes to. Parking's bad. Homeless people in the front of the building. That's where I want to be.
Oh, no.
Give me a horrible gig.
Oh, wow.
Put me in front of people that life has punched them in the mouth a few times. That's what I'm talking about.
Wow. That's not really what I was picturing. You said give me a difficult location. I was not expecting an abandoned warehouse.
Well, I bring that up because I have.
Yeah, because you've done it? How did that show go? Was it any better than the oil rig?
It was actually fun. A lot of fun. You get these weird... For comedians, well, look, any place we can find, there's an open space where we can set up a microphone and try to get anybody to show up. We'll do it. And I love helping people who are establishing new rooms and stuff. I'll go ahead and just take the lumps and go do it, just to give it a little more oomph. Have a comic that actually has worked in a real club. Give us some gravitas, as it were. I love helping. I love doing that stuff. And just the weirder the rooms, the better it seems. It's just fun. A lot of these pop-up shows, like Don't Tell, super secret shows, well, they'll go and just set up in weird places. Those have been doing pretty well. And I think it's, adding that just weirdness to the location, plus just being, comedy in general. It's just fun. Feels like you're getting away with something. Ditching school. We're going to do a show inside of a beauty parlor after hours. And the people are sitting in the barber chairs. We're laundromats. I've done shows in laundromats.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. But, like I said, when you're getting into comedy, that's the thing, is the weirder, the stranger, the more difficult the gig, the better. Because you develop your shot. You get better at comedy. Because nothing can phase you. So now when you get up in front of an audience, it's a little difficult. It's like, this is nothing. I don't have a washing machine going on behind me while I'm doing the show.
You don't have any washing machines. You don't have any bars. How many people in this audience are oil rig workers? Yes. Not many, I would assume.
Yeah, who've been drinking since 8 a.m.
Y'all don't scare me. Are you kidding?
You guys are nothing.
Has anybody ever asked you the movie question that I asked you earlier?
No, a lot of people will ask, what's your favorite movie? I get that one a lot. But no, your little twist to it was nice.
Yes, I did it. I met my goal. Applauding myself for meeting my goal. It's funny because I like this movie question. I actually, maybe the audience might get mad at me because you already asked somebody that question, but the person I interviewed didn't watch movies. So she's like, I don't know. And then I had to modify the question. So hopefully no one will get too mad at me for recycling the question. Are you mad at me for recycling the question?
Not at all.
Okay, cool.
All. You do what you got to do. You do your thing.
Well, I just want to know. They couldn't give me an answer, so I was like, I need to know. What's the best movie to watch on the worst day?
Answer. It's like you don't watch movies? Well, why? Why don't you watch movies? I would like to know the answer to that.
Maybe if I bring them on if I could speak, that would be great. Maybe if I bring them up on another episode, I can ask them.
There we go. Why don't you like movies? What is your deal? Do you think you're better than everybody else? Is that what you're doing?
I don't know if that's true.
You don't have an attention span past a minute and a half? Is that?
Oh, no.
You know, what is it? What's
Oh,
your
no.
answer?
Calling out attention spans. Calling out attention spans in this day and age. When they actually are getting shorter, and it's quite alarming, actually. I don't know if we have to go too deep in that.
That's funny, because I've seen comedy clubs, some places they started just doing the shows for an hour because the audience can't hang in there for an hour and a half.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's places where they just do comedy for an hour. Just because the audience, especially younger audiences, they lose interest. It's a strange thing. But at the same time, it's kind of funny because we think that people don't have long attention spans. But at the same time, somebody will get on their phone and stare at it for 7 hours and not do anything else. No, again, it's just this constant dopamine hits of one thing after the other. So there's that, but at the same time, if somebody's really interested and they're engaged, I think they'll stick around for a while. But I think younger people they feel like they have to be constantly engaged because they've been brought up with it for so long. As older people, we knew what it's like when there was only 3 channels and you had to entertain yourself all the time. And now it's just constantly there all the time. I can see how when you're raised with that just constantly in front of you and to have high quality entertainment available to you all the time. All these things that we used to have, TV shows that we would only see once a year. And it was like an occasion that we all got to sit down and watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
It was like we got one shot to watch it every year, and that was it. Now you can just bring it up on your phone anytime you want to. And then all these other, movies, everything, it's just available to you all the time. And so I could see how when you're raised with everything there already, why you don't suffer sitting through garbage that you perceive as being garbage or not important to you. It's understandable. Makes comedy interesting. I think it's changed in that way. You have to find more creative ways to keep an audience engaged. So
when you said the once a year special, I immediately thought of Peanuts.
Peanuts,
Charlie
yes.
Brown.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a big deal. I mean, everything shut down for that. It was good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
I remember we used to watch the Peanuts once a year at my house. I don't know if that was just before anything was really posted online, or if my parents were just we're not going to give you access to the internet. We're going to keep this carried over
there you go. There you
go. That's fun though. I like Charlie Brown. What's your favorite Charlie Brown special? Do you have one?
Probably the Christmas one, I think.
Yeah.
I like the Great Pumpkin. That was fun too. They didn't make a whole lot of Peanuts stuff.
They had the Halloween one, they have the Christmas one, they have a Thanksgiving one. We have that on DVD, so we would watch that one. There's probably 1 or 2 more that I'm forgetting. I heard there was a TV show at one point. They had a cartoon at one point. I don't know the validity of that or how long it ran, but it was. Yeah. That's what I heard through the grapevine.
There's so much out there.
Yeah.
Have to keep track of everything. So fun.
Yeah. Well, I don't really know where to take this conversation. Do you have anything that you want to ask me, or do you want to just do plugs and be done?
You gotta come up with more strange questions.
I do have to come up with more questions.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I do appreciate different questions because everybody asks, "Who's your inspiration? Who are your favorite comedians growing up?" And all that kind of stuff. It's fun to be challenged. So what I would suggest, you have some questions about their past that are weird. Did you ever get beat up? Have you ever been in a fight? And why? That would be a fun question. And then ask, the future. Where do you see yourself? Where do you hope all this takes you? Have some fun. Get into people's heads.
I like that. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. That's awesome. All right, Rodney. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up this episode. Do you have anything you want to plug before I do my outro?
I love you. Everybody out there who's listening to this, thank you for hanging out with us. And I hope you're having a super freaking awesome day. That's all I have to say.
That's the best plug that everyone has given. That's awesome. Alrighty, guys. Well, it's time for my outro. Rodney's going to be performing tonight. I'm going to be on stage tonight. But by the time this podcast airs, the show will be over. But don't let that stop you from coming to Krackpots for a live show, because we have them all the time. Check out crackpotscomedy.com. You can take a look at our schedule, see what strikes your fancy. if you come on a Friday or Saturday show, tell them Rebecca sent you and you will get $5 off your check. And while you are here at Krackpots Comedy Club in Massillon, Ohio, you can check out Dinda Mo's Unique Chocolates. She's got her own little kiosk right in front of the club. You'll find it. It's there. And you can also order Pigs in Mud, which is a little brownie shaped like a piggy that's coated in chocolate and then covered in chocolate syrup. It's so good, you guys. You can only get it here at Krackpots. So come in to a show and order it. And then talked about this a little bit earlier, but we are recording this podcast in an old radio station right above Krackpots. I almost said the title of a show. This show is recorded. Krackpots is downstairs. We are upstairs from the Krackpots. It's fine. And we have one room dedicated to this podcast, but we have a couple of other rooms that aren't really being used right now. Maybe you've got something you want to record, or you've got like a short film or something. You can email nfpbookings@gmail.com and you can get more information on that. Yep, that's it. Krackpots we met downstairs. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Rodney, for showing up. Can I shake your hand?
Absolutely.
You
a
can't
pleasure.
see it because it's audio, but we're shaking hands.
Yes.
That's it. See you next time. Bye!